we're picking back up after this long trek south into the wilderness, effectively leaving Bryn Shindar, um, not a 10-day ago. I feel like it was close to the 15th when we left Bryn Shindar. So you're right about 7 days ago. Having left at the full moon, you had plenty of light for the initial parts of your travels while you followed the Ten Trail, which is effectively the main road towards Luskin, like the main land route into Ten Towns. Following that south, everybody effectively started to head into the foothills, and that's when you kind of turned away as you started to reach some of the tree lines that were inside of the hilly regions of the spine of the world. Turned away by the druid, you routed closer towards the mountains you already knew were roughly the location of the Duergar fortress as given by Devessa, and moving into the hills, had more encounters. You had your meetings with the um, the people of this land, the more indigenous folks, some of the reg nomads, and some of the Goliaths of the actual spine of the world. I feel like I don't actually. I think it was the Sky Tower clan that you all met on this one. But we are basically picking up in that kind of 7 days of travel, having kind of searched this general mountain area here. You all have effectively kind of come into and eventually found what seems to be the entrance to the fortress as you kind of moving through this blizzard area. You're going to see as the weather starts to clear before you just these massive, straight, flat walls that climb a few hundred feet against this face of this mountain. And inside of this area, there's just these massive pillar, flat gray stone walls. And I'm going to drop the picture's in Discord already, but I'm going to redrop it just so it's the newest one. Um, as you kind of climb towards this, you're going to see on the west side, as you face north, looking at this flat section of rock, you'll see signs of about 150 or so feet up, a level of lights that kind of show you where like one level of this fortress is, and then towards the top of it you see another level of lights that give away where the second level of the fortress is. Walking up to the west, you can see a little line that's kind of cut into the actual not forest, cut into the face of the stone wall, and from maybe like a quarter of a mile away, you can start to follow a trail that you're able to spot where you just kind of weave left, weave right, and as you switch back up this mountain face, eventually coming to the level of those lights, you start to break into that direction, and it is going to head towards the dwarven fortress before you. While you all are moving up to this, what thoughts do you have in mind?
What's the weather? How uh, how much of our approach is being obscured by any weather?
The fortress is tucked into that U shape of these mountains. So, as far as things go, while there is certainly snow blowing overhead, this is one of the clearest little areas that you will kind of come across. As the wind comes from the north, the mountain face is basically blocking this approach. So, while the blizzard itself has kind of given away, it's hard to tell whether the blizzard gave way because it's raging out and around this mountains and just not falling on top of you, or whether it is actually kind of calm outside of this little mountain valley. But the valley itself is protected from those winds, from the snow that would blow over these mountains, and effectively you are in um, a almost permanent eye of the storm kind of calm. Uh, the actual fortress is effectively. I can't even draw small enough, but it's right about there.
And as far as we can see, these kind of switchback stairs are the only entrance, right? And is there a
Let
way to
me.
approach I guess, a way to approach the sort of base of it, um, this wall without, or I
Can you
guess so,
get a
yeah.
perception from Lu Jianbao and Brennick? Yeah, looking around from here, you are only going to spot these stairs seeming to be a switch back into it. Um, and I think at this point we could say that Valixis will kind of bring up that the last fortress you all encountered with the Duergar had one entrance. The second entrance was there, but it was deadly to try to approach, and it certainly wasn't designed to be entered. Um, their fortresses are built with a single entrance.
Yeah, they know their defense, they know their fortification sense.
And as far as things go for Justin, you guys remember that the initial fortress you had that little like spy tower that did not have an entrance on it. I think every group I've ever run past that small little tower spends ages looking for an entrance, and it's not. It's you can sneak in through the arrow holes if you would like, but there's not going to be an army that assaults into a second entrance. There's the main gate and nothing else.
Yeah, so Brannick would suggest, given this does appear to be the only way in, like our course is set, but perhaps we should try and do we aside from the those like lights, do we see any other evidence of like murder holes or windows on the face of uh, the wall, tower, fortress?
Um, Nobody has like stonework or like proficiency in um like architecture, anything that would kind of give you that information, right? So let me get like a history from Brennick. And then Valixis, you started to say something before and I kind of cut you off. What were you thinking before?
Uh, no, no, this was just kind of thinking back to, yeah, she was thinking back to the old towers too. She was kind of being wary of any holes in the walls, basically scanning the area for anything that may look like an enemy could shoot from. She was basically scanning for any sign of movement, aside from just the snow.
Gotcha. So this is going to make you all really happy then, because this is precisely what you were thinking about. All of those little signs of light are indeed arrow slits. This place doesn't have windows. It has defensive arrow slots. So every little arrow slot that you see is giving you more evidence that they have lights inside of these defensive points, more than that there's actually like a window because somebody wants to see the sky about. No, those are arrow slots. They are the very typical kind of triangular slot into the stonework, and you can see that there's very few that actually watch the walkway. Most of them are eyeing out into this plane, effectively where you all have been traveling. Like
Yeah,
most
so
look out south, and very few look to the west.
So basically, we're just out of sight of where the just out of sight of the arrow slots, pretty much.
Usefulness of those arrow slots may be very debatable. My point is that Brennick 100%, when he like goes to look for it, is going to recognize that those are indeed arrow slots. They're not windows; they're defensive um, barricades. They're defensive points because they are meant to rain down arrows or crossbows into this valley. Whether you all are noticeable or not, it's kind of hard to say. By the time you've gotten to this base here, where you can actually see this place in the weather, you would have been noticeable for a while if anybody was looking and if the snow actually revealed you. But in the long run, those things, as with most fortifications, 4 people or a small group is not necessarily why you fortify. Those things are for if there is an army that is in rows, you just fire arrows out and you're going to kill people. That's one of those classic things to remember. Part of why adventuring groups exist in these worlds is that just like sending in Navy SEALs now, sending in a small group is completely different than sending in an army.
Yeah, so Brannick recalling kind of what happened with our approach towards the other fortress and kind of how we tried to sneak up and that just gave them more time to kind of fire at us, and knowing this essentially this whole essentially fortification was partially built to be able to have a vista. He's going to suggest that we just try and kind of cross the open area as quickly as we can, get to the stairs, and hustle our way up rather than trying to sneak in. It's his that would be his suggestion.
Agreed. From the description, it sounds like the main defenses are for an opponent of army size. So hopefully, no one's watching.
Wouldn't want to. Agreed. Wouldn't want to go through that again. We lost someone last time. We had to do that.
Yeah, so Brannick will kind of like look towards the others, like, all right, whenever we're ready, let's just go.
Let me get a group survival right here. Alrighty, so as you all make your way up these kind of switchbacks and are climbing higher and higher up to the level of what seems like that main, it is effectively the center of this actual structure, but it seems to be the main level as it is where the actual stairs seem to go. You all are going to pass through different drifts in the snow, giving away signs that while this has been used in the past, it hasn't seen some use for a while now. Maybe a few days, maybe a 10-day. I don't think anybody's specifically going to be able to really lock down how long it is, but it gives you a sense that the stair isn't used constantly and it is not used daily. And I feel like that at least gives you a little bit more information. Um, as you progress forward, there certainly will be some difficulties from Brannick trying to make this climb. Different times where just a little bit of kind of, I don't know if saying like moving in the wrong way, but almost like different parts of like the wall where you might kind of like brace yourself to take a step up and like move to another part of this kind of like climbing stair. You just kind of like dislodge ice, nothing seems to really change. You all lose a little bit of time as you stop and kind of pause to kind of listen to see if anything changes. And you're not really going to sense these things, but as you push forward, you will eventually make it to this kind of top level. And you basically have just like a few hundred feet between where the stairs kind of were climbing in that switchback to where it seems you can see ahead of you. Actually, let me get a perception from you all here. So Lucian Bao is going to be the first to notice that forward of you, as this path kind of continues to move a little bit more upward, but at this point is much more leveled off, maybe like 2 to 5 degrees of incline as you move up this last bit. There is essentially a single arrow slit that is looking out over this entrance area. And at present doesn't seem to be any signs of uh, anything like blocking the actual light that seems to be seeping out like these windows have pretty much this entire time as you've walked by. Um, yeah, I think it's safe to say any given time you all look up at this, there hasn't seen any like flickering of that light to where you would think a body just walked between the light source and this arrow slot. Um, so as you all progress towards this gate, what would you like to do, and what is your marching order?
I feel like Brannick, given he's having more difficulty, would probably be behind the others on the way up.
Yeah, I feel like I would be in the lead.
Gotcha. So we'll
Gotcha.
do Brannick Valixis, and then, or I said that wrong. Jimbao, Valixis, and then Brannick.
Yeah, Felix is basically trying to follow the exact path that Jimbao's going since the stairs is going up, and she's not trying to get stuck in the ice or slip and fall back down.
Gotcha. One thing I might have left off on this is that it is effectively like about 5 feet wide. The actual map that I harvested, one thing I don't like is that it makes that little walkway a little bit wider than it should be. But again, one of the ways this is kind of designed as a defensive position is that there's not really an option to go any more abreast than effectively one by one. So if you all look in the bottom left corner, if you place yourselves effectively right at the actual edge, I'll have you all kind of progressing forward from here.
Sorry, did you mean the western edge or the right
Yeah,
by
my
the
bad. Western edge. Yeah, so that's good. If we put Felixis kind of right between there, um, and while you don't necessarily have to stay up to the wall, that's kind of what I mean. Like that should be effectively like one square width. So we'll kind of say up against the wall, it's much flatter. If you go out anymore towards like where there's like that edge there, you have a pretty solid sense that it's like a false edge. I think on mountains, those are where like cornices, where the snow almost like builds up on itself, and that property of clinging and freezing together makes something that feels solid, makes you feel safe stepping on it. But how much time you all have spent here, you should be well aware of snow cornices and how at these different peaks they will fall away to effectively nothing being beneath them. Um, and that's what I'm going to kind of write that off as what is below. there. But you all have this kind of movement forward here. You have the arrow slot ahead that seems to be giving away light. And then you can see that there is a, gray stone door with like iron hinges on that north side. Basically, it is that like kind of 5 feet to the west of that, or it's like a little 10 foot to the west of that little arrow slot. That might have
And
revealed it.
how high is the arrow slot? Is it on the same level as the door or one level up?
The door's gonna be like maybe like a 10 foot tall door. The arrow slot is probably, say like 8 or 10 feet of that, but it is effectively the same level. Like, I think if you thought of it as a story, it's the same story. It's not looking down at the area.
Gotcha.
So we're just gonna go through the door, right?
I'm thinking the arrow slot.
Do you plan on throwing me through the arrow slot?
No, but instead of banging on the door, we could get in there stealthily. We got rope. It's not that high off the ground.
True. But you don't think they're gonna notice the rope? I mean, either way, I feel like if there's anyone in there, I feel like we're gonna get noticed whether we coming in through the arrow slot or through the door, because I mean they're both technically in the same. The arrow slot's technically right by the door, and I mean, you don't think they're not gonna notice the rope coming through that slot?
I feel like
Well,
these things are not like wide enough for anything to get through. I don't think arrow slots were
okay.
ever designed much more than like the width of a broadhead.
Yeah, I've seen some in like actual castles, and they're pretty. It'd be tough even for like someone Valixis' side to squeeze through one.
Now the difference is this is the type of thing where with magic you could teleport inside of there because you can see inside if you moved up closer.
Wait a minute, Brandon, do you have clairvoyance?
I do not.
Okay, I need to make a note to grab that skill next.
But if we get a bit closer, I may be able to reach out mentally and at least sense if there's anyone too close by. But we should get up to the door first.
Yeah, let's do that. Um, but also check. We can definitely check for some magic once we get over there as well to see if anyone over there has any magic or if there's any magical properties on the other side. Just scratch that. We'll just check to see if there's anyone over there. Um, that way we can decide whether or not we're just going to try to sneak in or just try to go through the door. Because we can avoid having to do a lot of work just to get in. That'll definitely help us.
Brannick will kind of nod towards you and bow, kind of like ready when you are.
Proceed up to the door.
So once you approach closer, you're going to see that these doors are like it's actually a double door. And while this construction is by all means utilitarian and bland, it doesn't have any ornate like extra flair to it. The dwarven craftsmanship is clear in things like seeing that actual like split in this door. as how fine and how almost perfectly they meet up together. It's kind of a sign that perhaps they like still have that kind of care in their craftsmanship, but it's also one of those things like ice isn't going or water isn't just going to get into the stone and crack these doors.
Is there any kind of locking mechanism that we can see? A handle? Any distinguishing features?
I think from this side, that's kind of all you're going to see. I think it just seems to be like a otherwise featureless stone door. Beside that little slit between the two doors, it would look like one tall, like 10 by 10 door.
If you want to check to see if the door is just unlocked and open.
So assuming we get to within, like, once we get within 5 or 10 feet of it, uh Brannick would move to kind of send out and cast a detect thoughts, trying to sense if there's any kind of, I don't know if you aim that, but kind of like, because it can be blocked by stone, but like through the arrow slit kind of thing, trying to sense if there's any intelligent creatures within 30 feet where he, so I guess he'd have to be at least single file, so at least probably 10 feet behind and bow, so about 15 feet from the entrance. So it would be kind of, as he gets up there, again, assuming that we've reached this far, he would move to cast detect thoughts with that in mind.
Does it require that you share language? I feel like you can read its thought if it can speak. I'm trying to look over it real quick to see.
Sorry, I was trying to post it to.
Oh yeah, I'm reading the actual spell. I just mean if you knew offhand.
Oh, I think it's. I don't know if I. It says I can't detect one if with an intelligence of 3 or one that doesn't speak any language. I would think that if it's like thinking essentially in another language, maybe I would recognize it's there, but not actually be able to know its thoughts. I'm not sure exactly how that works.
Oh, Brannock's got Dwarvish. All of you speak Dwarvish. No, Draconic for Vilixis.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those weird things whether the dwarves would be more inclined to think in Dwarvish or think in Duergar or Undercommon. I don't know anything about the lore to really say one or the other there, but let's go with the idea that one, you are certainly going to sense a mind. Um, Damn, should I have you roll for it? The chance that it's thinking differently? I just don't know enough about Undercommon. I don't feel like Duergar are going to be inclined to think in Undercommon so much as they can speak Undercommon. Um, yeah, I think you're going to pick up um, what is it? Surface thoughts.
Yeah, just the
So
surface.
maybe a little bit of curiosity about who you are. Maybe a little bit of curiosity about why you're here. And then maybe a little bit of curiosity about if it can use you. No hostility at present, but you are sensing that mind.
Okay, so Brannick's going to relay kind of what he picked up to the others. Suggest that maybe we should try and see what it wants. I'm not sensing any particular hostility, and it seems odd that place hasn't been used too often. Perhaps something's happened. Perhaps we can avoid a full frontal assault type of approach.
Agreed. So I'm sorry. Were there any door handles, or it's just flat door
Just
no
flat.
way? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The door is essentially featureless, except for the fact that you can see that there are two doors.
That's what I thought.
So as you relay this information, is Brennick going to delve deeper into the creature, or are you going to try to speak to it? What were you thinking?
Yeah, so it seems like it already knows we're here. So I don't think he's gonna delve. I think he would actually kind of he'd look to the others for kind of permission, and then uh before planning to look, he would speak, kind of move up towards.
Assuming that again those thoughts are effectively like in Dwarvish, what are you speaking? What are you saying? And you also just said you're moving up somewhere. Where are you moving to?
Well, I guess like if I could essentially move up to the right up to the door, kind of moving past Jinbao and Velixis.
Ooh, I just saw a key part of that spell. Supposed to be able to see the creature. What's your passive perception on Brennick? You're the low one. This is where that psychic crystal was a little bit better because I feel like it didn't require that. We'll kind of like move forward with this a little bit, but at present, this is an invisible creature. I think you guys have recognized enough about the Duergar that they can go invisible and kind of hide themselves. So this is kind of a weird aspect. I maybe shouldn't have given that up. But what are you saying as you kind of move towards that arrow slot?
So actually, when I use it to kind of like do this, just detect the presence of thinking creatures, I don't have to be able to see them. It says you can also use this spell to detect the presence of thinking creatures you can't see.
Oh, okay, that's something specific to your use of it, right? That's what you mean?
Yeah, so rather than trying to delve into the thoughts of like a particular creature, I'm essentially just kind of almost throwing out like a sonar kind of effect, trying to like get a ping.
Gotcha. That's actually perfect because that solves that issue.
But then I probably uh yeah, so I would speak in Dwarvish. I would try to get closer so I don't have to speak too loudly, just because I don't know if there's maybe more creatures. But uh I would just, I think, start off with a basic like hail in Dwarvish.
I think you'll see an odd flicker of the light in front of this arrow slot. Hear a little bit of like shuffling of feet, and then a little bit of a thump that kind of tells you. Let me get an intelligence from you. Gotcha. Again, kind of going back on the idea, I don't think it's surprising for you all to know that Duergar can turn invisible. You've startled this creature. It was surprised and isn't really speaking back to you, but it also is not doing anything hostile at present. What are you thinking?
So I think he'd say, "We know you're there. Just uh,
Did you cut off, or are you sticking with "we know you're there"?
I said maybe like we know you're there. Can we speak?"
Make a persuasion on that one. So this is me being the DM who's trying to wonder, have you rolled portent dice today, and do you recognize how important this persuasion may be?
I have. I think I used one.
I think technically we've got you all on a fresh day, because like everything from last week would have been previous days.
Okay. Let me roll them then for today. Yeah,
That
I
was
think I could.
precisely why.
Also, I could use some of my inspiration. I got a bunch.
Yeah, this is you trying to figure out if you can walk in the front gate of this fortress. So I don't think Brennick would not be delving into the future here.
Yeah, I think Brannick would kind of. Yeah, so if you'll let me, I'm going to use that 17 and kind of like essentially, I had a thought of like how the conversation would go, like what I had this, what would I say to like almost like I saw like a couple different variations and like each one kind of ended really badly until finally the last thing kind of maybe succeeded in persuading the creature, and then I would kind of follow that script.
We'll do like the temporal searching of like where you're going through these different conversations. A lot of them have just dead silence. Very few of them are actually ending in overt hostility. But you do start to come to the point where you say, um, damn, I had something in mind at the start of this that was going to be the keywords, and it's now slipped my mind. Um, I think something stupid at the start. Can you help us get inside? Is kind of going to be the simplest thing that starts the conversation, but I feel like as you throw out the 17, there'll be one little instance where you actually have this conversation, and you say, "We're here to stop the sunblights," and the conversation will start from there. Kind of this idea of you have come to end them, to stop. We can help you. Um, make a let me do something here actually. He's going to let's see. The guards to the west are loyal to Zardak. Rush. Be quick. And you're going to hear as like kind of like the screech of a lever inside of that room. There's going to be kind of the running of chain from just north of where Jimbao is right now. And you're going to hear this chain kind of running. Click, 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 click. The doors are going to slowly start to kind of creak and open. And in this kind of first little bit of them kind of, they're not going to open far in front of you, Jimbao, but they do creak open enough that you'll be able to see that this chain is a portcullis about 10 feet to the north of you, is raising on the inside of this. Um, but I think that'll kind of be the response that you have from this creature, is effectively you are getting the door open to you, saying that there are guards to the west and that you need to be quick.
Brannick will kind of we'll do we'll help if we'll try to help. Thank you. and then he'll move to follow Shinbao in.
So there is a single arrow slot on the western side of this room beyond the portcullis. You can see on the other side of this room is a brazier. There is a pillar. Stop moving when I'm talking. Just leave your character still. There's a brazier, a pillar behind it, and then there are basically two sides leaving that little murder hole. And then you can see kind of some of the stonework off to the north there. As you all kind of have a little bit still of the clicking of the portcullis raising, what is everybody looking to do, and what are your thoughts?
This is just wary of the hole to the west.
I mean, I just warned you that there are guards there, so you should be, but what are you doing about it? How are you being wary?
She is keeping an eye on him, Chuck, and she's actually gonna move closer to the wall and try and basically stay underneath and out of sight of the hole. By basically when she's close, she's gonna try and essentially lay on the ground or duck underneath the hole and continue walking past it.
It's effectively the entire height of this place. It's like a little slot that looks into this room. So you can certainly get up against that wall. Is everybody going to kind of move for that positioning of basically going left to that wall?
Yes.
Gotcha. Are we doing the same order where it's Liu Bao, Velixis, Brennick?
I believe so.
Did you have anything else that you were thinking there from Liu Bao?
No, if there's no way to avoid the arrow defense by jumping over or sliding under, it was going to be make a mad dash for it.
Brennick, with yours, it's any creatures that are within 30 feet of you, you can start to sense their mind. Is that how that plays out?
Yeah, just have to double check if it's like a one time when I cast it or if it lasts. Oh yeah, for 1 minute.
Gotcha. So maybe before they've gotten to that little moment here, but as you move into that actual room, um, you'll start to sense one creature who is very clearly watching that hole. Like its thoughts are on basically be like serving its guard duty. Um, it like hears the portcullis opening and it's watching to see what's going to happen here. Two of them seem to be resting, maybe between consciousness, very lightly so, not like in a deep sleep. And another one seems to be maybe being a little bit more casual, is perhaps doing something just to keep its mind active. And I think we're going to jump with you all just right into an actual initiative roll right here. So we kind of limit what you guys are able to do. And this will also be one of those things where perhaps Liu Bao can get a lot more done than the other two at first. So, in that kind of moment, as you all kind of take to this room, you've got a moment. Brennick tells you that there is a guard who's actively watching that little murder hole. What is going to be Liu Bao's first move?
So I'm going to say, stay behind me. And I'm going to move I'm assuming I'm going to get shot at.
Are you like just moving and stopping there?
I was going to pause for a second and see. I mean, I was expecting a pot shot as soon as I was seen.
Yeah, as far as things go, like that's not necessarily somebody who's holding an action to attack you. So I feel like that's where the difference is like I want you guys to be slowed down for the three of you to operate like you're in combat. Everything around you isn't necessarily in combat by me putting you in initiative. I just wanted to see what order everything was going to be happening. So it's not like Brennick takes 7 turns, Lucian Bao takes 1, Felixus takes 3. My point was so you guys could each do like 1-to-1 action economy kind of things. So if you were going to go there and pause for a moment, that's perfectly fine. But what else are you doing?
Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to continue to move towards the door that's in the northwest.
Gotcha. So when you go and move up to that door, when you pause there, are you just glancing that direction, or are you going to use an action to try to look through the actual slit? What are you thinking here?
Like I said, I was just expecting to get shot at. And if
Gotcha. So
if that didn't come, I was just gonna head down, keep moving.
Gotcha. You'll confirm that there is a body in front of the slit, but there is still like light kind of passing by that. Would you like to use your action to open that door, either via a kick with your hand? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would. If there's not a handle, then
Inside of here, everything has like iron handle and hinges. As far as that door goes, you can certainly try to open it. Um, yeah, I think you're just going to find that door opens without a problem. Illusion Bow is going to see about 4 dwarves sat down at a long, or at like 2 long tables, one kind of north of you, one kind of south at you. Each of them has 2, not necessarily side by side, and a room filled with a bunch of doors. Do you have any more movement? What are you thinking? I think that's 40 feet, so that's probably all your movement.
no, I still got another 15, or at least I'm sorry, I have 45 is my total.
Gotcha. So you could move like 5 more feet and basically get to one of the dwarves inside of there. What are you kind of thinking here?
You know what? I'm gonna hold up where I am.
Gotcha. So kind of to the south side of the door a little bit, giving yourself at least a little bit of a cover behind the actual sill, and it will go to Brennick. What are you thinking, sir?
All right, so Brannick he's even what he sensed behind the door. He's starting to move, but as he does, he's going to cast minor illusion to try to essentially create the sound of a thud coming from like on the other side, within um to the west of him, hoping that maybe it will momentarily distract the person keeping watch as he moves up towards Jin Bao.
All right, I got you there. Um, I feel like I'll give you that. I'm going to take the test against it with advantage because Lu Jianbao moves so much quicker than you. And that's kind of going to be the difference between effectively like his initiative of when somebody moves is before you have to act, even though it's the same 6 seconds. We're gonna go with this is kind of one of those moments where like you're thinking this, it has a chance to succeed, but Lu Bao is moving faster than your thought, kind of thing. So I think that is just a intelligence against your DC of 15 right now.
Yep, intelligence investigation. Yeah.
Shit, I never even thought to see if they had a chance. Yeah, they don't have an investigation. So yeah, let's see. Damn. You can definitely bust that out. Oh, I should have done that secret. Damn, mental checks are supposed to be secret checks. So yeah, you can definitely like make this little like splash of sound to try to draw attention away from this little gated area where you are at. You can move forward there, and minor illusions is an action. Is that your turn? I think it'll go to Velixis.
Yep, that's it for me. Yeah, I was kind of thinking like I'm like as I'm starting to cast a spell, Jinbao's already darting forward. So yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, precisely. That's definitely how it'll play out there. Had the dice kind of gone the other way, it might have been as simple as saying, like, yes, like you are able to get it off before he kind of goes. Velixis, what are you thinking?
She's just panicked. She's like, what? How did she got left in that room? So now she's kind of dashing past the
Well, again, this is initiative. This is all at the same time. It's the same 6 seconds that you guys are doing this, so you're not necessarily getting left in the room so much as this is like them moving, and you're moving with them if you're moving with them.
Yeah, I'm dashing past that little slip, but I'm still doing my initial thing at the same time. I'm kind of ducking once I get close to it to go underneath the hole. That's not to be seen.
Alrighty, so you're just moving forward, basically getting up behind Brennick. Any action from Velixis?
Nah.
Alrighty then. You all are going to hear a yell from within the room. Brennick and Lucian Bao will understand that this is a dwarf yelling out to arms. Say at present you don't necessarily have this full view, but this is again kind of where you all were aware of the dwarf at the actual murder hole, and then Lucian Bao was staring down into the 4 dwarves that were kind of inside of this room. Basically, those dwarves are like sat at the table here. In this moment, they're going to start to get up and move. Don't believe I have any in the initiative before Lucian Bao, so I believe we're just going to jump right in with Lucian Bao.
All right, I will. I'm gonna move in between these two guys. I'm gonna attack to the northwest with my longsword.
Oh, my bad. That is the one that would actually also be giganticized. Psych. But if that still goes ahead, you can still attack with your longsword.
Yeah, but if that's the case, I'm gonna start with Big Boy.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I thought that's what you were going for, anyways.
No, I was gonna go for a guy still seated at the table, but if he's a big boy, I'm gonna go for him first.
Solid hit with the first attack.
I'm gonna apply stunning strike to that DC 14. Con.
You will see as their muscles begin to tense and they seem to freeze.
So he took 13 for that. I'm going to unarmed strike the guy to the north west of me, the smaller guy.
That one is going to just kind of glance off of the armor it's wearing. Second one is a solid strike.
So that'll be 12 damage, and that will be my turn.
Gotcha. So the stunned one is going to be bloodied, and the other one seems to be still kind of moving about normally. Two of these creatures inside of the room are going to enlargen as well as they start to block that door in front of Brennick and Velixis. Lucian Bao is now kind of right between two of them. Table starts to scatter. You are going to hear a little bit of commotion within. And Brennick, what would you like to do?
Brenna kind of like lets out a curse as kind of things unfold. Illusion Bow rushes in. He's gonna now seeing kind of all this happening at the same time. He's going to kind of move forward as these things are kind of like growing to block the door, and he's gonna kind of come up short. Does he? Do we see any other doors like on the other side or to our north? Sorry if I missed the description before.
Um, So for where you guys are at right now, I'm gonna say you are aware that the corridor goes to the east here. With the myopic vision of your little ally who's giving you access here, I'm gonna say at present you all never even really have looked to the east yet. So I'm not necessarily going to reveal more there. But that corridor continues like behind Brannock to the east of you. That corridor continues. But otherwise, you were in a hallway here. The room that they are in has doors like beyond these dwarves that have now gotten large. Does that answer what you were looking for?
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. Just I guess like kind of like what I could see at a quick glance kind of thing. But yeah, no, it makes sense that I wouldn't really be focused on that. So, um, yeah. So I think in that case, he's going to kind of again like come up short as these things are growing, and kind of instinctively is going to again like kind of hold out his hands, and he's going to unleash burning hands at first level against hoping to hit these two uh, right to his west.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that will 100% grab both of them. We'll go north one first. I think that's both are going to fail for 15. Each of them, their flesh. How'd that happen? Yeah, 15 feet, 5, 10, 15. Yeah, so my bad. The northern one of those shouldn't have actually been large yet. It should have been this one that was large. I guess it doesn't matter. I like pre-rolled their initiatives to try to save time, and I added it wrong. But you will bloody that one. You'll basically bloody each of them with like third degree wounds on this.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, let me know. I would have moved up if I had to be
Well,
close.
no, it still hits him. The difference is like realistically, I think Brennick would know you could hit all four if you closed in on the one that is at the doorway. would that change things? Like try to hit all four instead of just the large one and then the small one that's still like kind of seated?
I guess if its view inside hadn't been blocked by the second one,
Okay.
and
Yeah, so
seeing
move
them
up to
all,
the
yeah.
doorway for me. Gotcha. So you're going to kill the one that you're in combat with, and then I'll roll for the other two. That's why I wanted to ask you before I actually described that one, because that was a killing blow.
Okay, yeah, I figured like I wouldn't be able to see past those two, so I wouldn't have tried to close it any further.
Yeah. So effectively, right now, all three of the ones that are still there are bloodied. The one who is closest to the door is actually collapsing as their full flesh is like immolated, and they're just kind of screaming out in pain right now.
And Brennick's not going to push forward into the room yet, so that'll be it for him.
Gotcha. And that will take us to Velixis. What would you like to do?
Okay, so Velicious is actually gonna go ahead and move into the. Oh god, they got me out. So Velicious is gonna move into the door as well. And when she notices the Duergar, she's going to let off a firebolt at the large one in the back, hoping to do some heavy damage to him so she's not to see us later.
If you move in front of Brennick there, it is going to be at disadvantage. If you fire it from behind, it's still just normal shot.
Okay, yeah, I see. I messed up because I was kind of like, oh, that's right. I was kind of like trying to move like right here, or like right into here, and just fire off.
That's safer.
Okay, and fire off a shot at the one, the other big guy in the back between the two little ones right here. Yeah.
Can you roll the firebolt? There we go. Solid hit. If it doesn't roll damage as soon as you see it.
I'm not sure what's up with the thing. I'm going to have to look at it later and find out why it's not sending all
You can
my
click
rolls.
that green spot to roll the damage. So that creature is going to be burned, mortally wounded. You certainly see more like bone than flesh at this point, as this creature seems to be melting fat away from its bones. Anything else from Velixis?
It kind of cringes and goes, ew. But that's it.
So the last two there are going to go large, and then it is going to go to Lu Jianbao.
To the guy to the south of me.
Solid hits.
And I will follow that up with the 2 unarmed strikes.
First one is going to deflect off of the metal of its armor. Second one is a solid strike into its armor. Oh, wait, my bad. You still have advantage. Yeah, so both of those are going to be solid strikes into like the weak points of this creature's armor, and it is going to fall to the ground dead.
And that's end of turn for me.
No movement.
Yeah, you know what? I should move to the other side. And agile parry is activated in a turn.
The creature north of Velixis is going to swing out at Velixis with a pick, and it should hit. And it's going to do 13 piercing damage to Velixis as it stabs into you.
Oh, she heals on pain.
And with that, we are going to go back around, and it will be on Brennick.
So Brannick, seeing this bigger one approach, and kind of is going to try to back away, get a little distance.
It's going to end up striking out towards you. Should hit with a 18-20.
Yeah, can I shield that?
Yep, that's part of why I was saying that one in particular.
Yes, I'll shield that with my reaction, and then I will, as I manage to get a little distance, I'm going to launch a firebolt at the mortally wounded one in the back northwest.
Gotcha. And that one will be a killing blow.
And I assume if I move any further back, I might lose a little bit of line of sight, so I'm going to stay where I am.
Gotcha. And that will go to Velixis. Are you there, Rashad?
Oh god, yeah, I'm here. Hold on. Dang. Okay. Okay, yeah, she's just gonna Melissa is going to kinda after that she's gonna throw the other fireball at the guy to her right. And then she's going after throwing the fireball at him, she's going to back away. So let me see here.
All right, I've got one north of you and one west of you. Like, which one are you thinking?
Oh, I'm sorry. The one north of me. I said to the right because the way I'm looking at it.
All right, north of you is going to be at disadvantage. That is going to plink into the armor, and you're going to see very little effect to the creature.
Okay.
And then you said you were going to move away from it?
Yes.
The creature to the north of Lucian Bao is going to step onto the table and swing out with its axe into Velixis. And it should miss with a 7. You all hear commotion from the rooms all about this little guard chamber that you've entered into, and it's going to go to Lu Jianbao.
Attacking the guy on the east on the table. I take it misses.
Plings into its armor and just kind of scatters off to the side. Solid strike into a weak point.
That will end my turn. Agile parry's active.
Another one deflects off of its armor. This creature is mortally wounded, and it is going to go to... one of these is going to run down, and it is going to swing out at Velixis with a 13 to hit. I've got that as your AC right now.
Yep.
And it is going to deal 10 piercing damage to you as it swings out at you.
Wait, did you say 8 or 18?
The to hit was the 13. The damage to you was 10.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had 18 damage.
No, I said 8 when I was doing the math. And then that creature is actually going to step away from Velixis, and it is going to run back out towards Brennick. From the south of the room, you are going to see one of the doors open on like the southeast side, and it's going to go for 2. And swing out at Lu Jianbao with a 19 to hit you.
Yeah, that'll hit.
It is going to deal 17 piercing damage to you. From right behind you, a door is going to open up. Yeah, I just don't really see any reason way it could even attack Brennick. Yeah, so I think this one is like lunging its way out of this room. And as it kind of clears this space, it's going to spot Brennick. It's going to throw its weapon at him. Yeah, I think it's going to disengage from Lu Jianbao first. So reaction if you would like. Plinks off its armor. It's going to chuck a javelin into Lu Jianbao. Should hit with a 20.
Jinbao or Brennick?
My bad, Brennick.
Yep, 20 hits.
And that's going to do 10 piercing damage to you. Oh. Feel like you could have +2 AC on that. Did you shield already on the other one?
Yeah, and I'm not going to shield this one anyway, so 20 hits even with +2 AC.
Wasn't it the same turn, though?
Oh, yeah, I
I've
don't have my
gotten back
reaction.
to you.
Right, that's
Yeah.
right.
So what's your AC at if you got +2 AC for the dwarf and for the, like, Dorsil?
18.
Okay.
Oh,
So that is a hit still. So yeah, the
or wait,
10
does it
piercing.
is it +5 until my next turn though?
Yeah, shield is until it's your turn.
Okay, so if I haven't gone yet, then it's 21.
Yeah, so
23 with
21
the.
will deflect it. 23? Gotcha. Yeah, so I would say no damage on that one because it is attacking through the wind, like the door sill still, and that other Duergar. And then one from the north. Let's see. I think it's going to do the same thing. It's going to huck one at Brennick, a javelin, which will miss. And then we're going to go to Brennick there.
So Brennick, this one close by him. He's going to again. He senses in his mind like he sees a particular weak spot and then how the dwarf's moving. He's going to cast a firebolt, but he's going to use his. Oh wait, how does Portent work on disadvantage?
I am pretty sure the way Portent works is you go before the roll, so I don't think Portent actually affects disadvantage. We could certainly look at it, but like Lucky is where I do not allow Lucky to turn disadvantage into advantage. With Lucky, you would basically roll at disadvantage, take the lower die. Wait, that's the wrong way to say it. I think you could roll twice, picking your higher die. Yeah, there's no way to say that right. I think you would roll twice. Lucky at disadvantage is where the real problem is. I'm pretty sure Portent is before you actually roll, you choose what you rolled.
Right, but that would only replace the one, right? So I could still.
But that's what I mean, where it's not even a question of, like, there's no disadvantage because you're choosing what you rolled. I think that's one of the things about how Portent plays out. I will have to look into it in the future, but I feel like that's the solid way of ruling it without actually. I mean, we could take a break here. We're an hour and a half in. It's a good time to break. Um, that would be perfectly functional.
Okay, because I was thinking like it would only replace one of the dice, but you're essentially saying it just replaces the roll altogether.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is the clutch part of Portent saying that you have to decide to use it before you even roll. Like disadvantage and advantage never come into play. So if you guys want to take a break, we can. Otherwise, I would say that's my ruling.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So in that case, so I will use my second Portent dice to cast a firebolt into this one next to me.
And what, that was a 14, and you have what, like a +7 spell attack?
+7, yeah.
That will definitely hit, so roll the damage. That is going to leave it in the mortally wounded state.
All right, and Burnix just cursing that doesn't finish it off, but that's essentially his turn.
And that will take us to Velixis.
So Alexa's has taken a lot of damage, and she is now panicky. So she's looking around, and she said all the Duergar that have entered the room, along with the bodies of the ones that are already down. And in an attempt to finish it all off as deal as much damage as possible, she decides she's going to cast a fireball as wide range as she can, and she's going to make it avoid her friends.
You should be able to drag that out of the spells and place it in this room. So we will go north to south, left to right. 8. My bad. They have advantage against the saves. So 10 rolls. So yeah, let me actually just do them. First will pass. Second will fail. Third will pass. Fourth will pass. And fifth will fail. And your damage is hidden because roll 20 sucks. 29. So the failures are going to be death states. So the top one is going to take 14. And bloodied. The next one is a fail is dead. Pass, but that one has next to no life. It is going to die. And then pass, next to no life. It is going to die. And fail, death state. So, as there is an explosion from within this room, most of the Duergar are going to burn, and you'll see as their flesh starts to melt and disintegrate from their body. Anything else from Alexis at the present moment?
Nah, she just kind of like pulls her hands back together, and she's like takes a deep breath and looking around to see how many are dead and who survived.
One of these is going to move out from the south. As the door opens, it is going to strike out at Velixis with an 11 will miss. And then from the north, another door will open. It is going to move out and close in on Lucian Bao, striking out to Lucian Bao. 23 should hit. And it's going to do 10 more piercing damage to you. And I think that's going to take us back to Lucian Bao.
Okay, I think when you took the fireball off, you still got guys on the board who are supposed to be dropped.
They are on the map layer. They don't have X's on them. But if you guys look at stuff, like the ones that are actually... I guess maybe from your perspective it doesn't look any different. Is that all it is? Can you even
I just
click
want to
my
confirm,
miniatures?
there's still 3 in the room, right?
Yeah, I see 3 like normal looking, and then the rest are
I
faded.
gotcha. Yeah, they don't fade that much when they're on the map layer, though. And you guys can only click your miniatures, so technically... But yeah, right now there is one between Lujianbao and Velixis. There is one north of Lujianbao, and then there is one that is the most northern of all of them. All the others are presently dead.
And the far north guy is wounded.
Correct.
Okay, then I'm going to attack the southern guy. And I'm going to apply a stunning strike to that.
My bad. Which one was it that you were attacking?
The southern guy.
Gotcha. Solid hit with that. Your DC is 14.
Correct.
He is going to seem unaffected.
And I'll follow that up with my other unarmed strikes. And that will be it for me.
Yep, those next two are just going to be glancing off of its armor. The dwarf to the north. What states are you all in? Is anybody below 50% health?
I am. My max is 43, and I'm at 20.
Brannick looks perfectly fine. He's healthy.
Gotcha.
I'm a little above 50.
This one is going to close in on Velixis, smash into the kobold, and will do 12 slashing damage to Velixis. And that will take us to Brennick.
So Brannick, cursing as he's seeing even more Duergar pouring into the room, is going to move in, and he's going to again splaying out his hands, this time with a third level burning hands, trying to hit the two to his south, aiming it, hoping to avoid Jinbao.
Two to the south of you. Yeah, I think you should be able to make that happen with almost like directly aimed at Jinbao kind of thing. I think one of the triangles is basically having it spread out wider than it is long. I think that's kind of the difference. So let's go left first, right. And you're doing 23. We'll take out the right one. And then the other is a pass for 12.
11, I think, actually.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Brannick's like so much for sneaking in, kind of under his breath.
And then it should go to Velixis.
Okay, so she is in a whole heart. She is panicky. She is again in panic mode. And let's see. She looks around and she is not sure what's going on. So she attempts to cast suggestion on the one that's nearest to her. So I guess that'll be the one at the south. and she orders it to retreat far up into the top left corner, but with suggestion.
Gotcha. Make an intelligence roll for me. You have not understood anything that these dwarves have said, and you understand that suggestion requires the understanding of the creature. If you go to use this, you are assuming that it knows common, and you have not heard them use common. Do you want to cast this, Felixus?
Yes, because she is panicking. She is not wholeheartedly thinking straight.
Gotcha. So it is going to have no visible effect at present. And we can continue on from there. It will go to Duergar south of you. It is going to strike out at Velixis. It is going to miss with a 6. And then this Duergar is going to disappear. And you all will hear footsteps moving away from Lucian Bao. If you would like to react, you can take an attack of opportunity at disadvantage. And then one will run past Brennick, doing a very similar thing, where if you would like to react, you could make an attack at disadvantage.
Yeah, Brannick will just kind of stab out wildly with his dagger.
The sword attack is going to miss as you strike out like towards a large creature without the understanding that this creature has shrunk back to its normal size. Brennick just kind of stabbing out with its dagger with the door sill in mind has much more of a way to center the attack and is able to not only like clink into the metal, but actually feels that like buttery sliding as the knife moves into flesh. And no sneak attack. Yeah, no sneak attack, but will do some damage to this creature. And you'll see as damn. Does the blood become visible when it leaves the creature? That's an interesting one.
Trail o' blood.
Invisible creature bleeding out, leaving a trail of blood. That's how they normally follow the invisible creatures from the trail of blood that they're leaving.
I mean, because they leave like they're still there. They can be perceived, right? I would think it'd still might have like disadvantage because you don't know where they've gone. Like you can see the
My
blood.
bad.
Like
The interesting part of this to me was far more philosophical on the level of like, does blood become visible when it leaves your veins, or does blood become visible when it drops to the ground? I definitely think the blood becomes visible on the ground, because it's no longer a part of the creature. But I was trying to think of how funny it would be as if blood, like just seeping out of the wound, were already like alien enough to your body. You know what I mean?
oh
That's
yeah,
that's what I was speaking about as far as things go. But
gotcha. I'm
like the
almost thinking of
reason
it like it's if the blood's still in them or on them, like coming out. It's almost like they're still kind of wearing it or carrying it.
yeah, the reason why it's disadvantage to track it regardless and they don't have a blood rule is because, yeah, like it could staunch the wound by covering it with the hand. There's plenty of reasons why it doesn't have to bleed. I was purely thinking it was kind of funny to imagine. When does blood become alien to your body in this process of being invisible? But yeah, at present, you all are left in a room with a single Duergar, and it is on Lujimbao. It is southeast of you, and it is trying to kill your friend Valixus. Do what you will.
I'll take 12 on that one.
Gotcha. First attack's going to hit for a solid strike. The unarmed strike is going to glance off of its armor. And with that critical, this creature is going to fall to the ground, unconscious and dead. I guess as a reminder to all things, you guys can always have the chance of knocking stuff out in melee combat. I always just assume stuff is dead, so.
And I think it's safe to say that Brannick's detect thoughts is faded by this point, right? It's only a minute duration.
Yeah, I should have had you doing concentrations to see. Um, but I feel like we were probably. Damn, I didn't even pay attention to what turn. I think that was turn 3 or 4. You might have 1 or 2 turns left on it. Do you know how many times you took damage there? Was it twice?
Just once, actually.
Once? So you could roll a con check here. So that would save. And then roll a d4. So yeah, as this combat kind of fades, you would sense the one creature that is fleeing from you, and effectively you would be picking up this like fear and kind of like a bottled state. This is basically somebody who's like only thinking of survival. Those are the surface thoughts that you've got. But effectively they're still close to you. And then moving away. And I think that's probably going to be where it fades as well. Which that would be like 1 more turn on top of the combat. Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Okay. Yeah, so I think Brennick would I think he's gonna try and chase it down and try and knock it out with the hilt of his dagger if he can reach it, if it's not too far. Because he doesn't know exactly where it is, but kind of following the kind of where he's sensing the thoughts from. If he can do that.
Yeah, going for a knockout, make a melee attack disadvantage.
I think 14 will miss, right?
Yeah, 14 is basically going to just be a glance off of this creature's armor. And yeah, if you're going for a melee attack, at present, what we are going to do is
Brennick got momentarily emboldened. I don't know why he went with it. Well, that's the only way to knock it out instead of kill it.
So yeah, as everything kind of wraps up there, you all are going to see as Brannick is like stabbing out towards this little door sill, very quickly kind of like dashes back down the hall a little bit to the east. And then what are you all doing as Brannick kind of runs away from you here?
Willis just kind of leans against the wall, gripping her arms, and she like slides down and kind of calls out for Brennick to come back.
Lucia Bao is going to follow him out into the hallway.
So Brannick and Lugenbauer are going to see that this hallway continues for quite some distance to the east. You can see a few more braziers in the actual hallway that are lighting up this stonework. And Lugenbau and Brannick will kind of be at that same moment where you see that there is a way to move to the north and a way to move to the south, directly to your east, about 15 more feet to the side of you. And what's everybody doing?
The Brannick kind of as Illusion Bow comes up, he's going to be like, "Damn it, I think pretty sure it got away." And then he's going to look around and not seeing Velixis, he's going to, say we should go see how she's doing. Sure, she's still alive. He will start to move back that way towards the room he came out of.
Willis is kind of just laying there. She's actually trying to search the body that's near her for any like anything that even though she's kind of wounded and leaning against the wall, she's searching the closest body that she can reach for anything she can use to cover her wounds, and she still searches for coin. Like even though she is bloodied to a mess, she is searching bodies for coin and anything else that is valuable.
You can make a perception check.
Jumbo will move back into the room, but got to keep an eye peeled to the hallway.
As they enter the room, and when she notices them, she asks, "Did you catch him?"
Unfortunately, not.
It's my fault. I was hoping to knock him out to question him, but should have just put him down.
Roll a D1 100, Velixis. And 3d6. You can find in this creature's pocket 3 copper, 5 silver, and 4 gold pieces. You can find a bunch of dirty cloth that you could easily infect all of your wounds with. And yeah, the creature's got armor on it. It's got a miner's pick and some javelins.
I'll take the javelins. How many are there?
How many javelins do you want to take? Because all of these creatures have javelins.
You cut out.
How many javelins do you want to take? Because all of these creatures have javelins.
I'll take 6 of them then.
Alexis does let y'all know she did find the coin she did find. She asked how y'all want to split it up.
Just hold on to them for now. And then Brennan will kind of offer to take a look at the wounds, realize there's not really much you can do. Maybe offer like some water out of his water skin just to like wash them, wash a little bit of the surface blood, but there's not really anything he can do.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for that. Um, we should check. Let's check the other rooms real quick, and we could probably take a short rest. And then proceed on forward. Um, I would like not to die. I would like to not die at our next encounter because this was a lot of them, and this was only the first room.
Given we did take down all of them, I'm not sure we'll be able to get in a rest if they alert any others that might be in here. Might be better to keep moving if you're.
And Jimbao would suggest to Velixis that she takes a page out of Brannick's playbook and not necessarily come into rooms where there are a lot of melee creatures hanging about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You have a penchant for finding yourself surrounded by enemies. Brannick has a sense of self-preservation that maybe you should adopt.
I trust me. I have a sense of self-preservation. It's a different kind of self-preservation, I guess. But that being said, it all worked out. Although I definitely should pick up a few healings. I should learn to probably heal a little now and again. We wouldn't happen to have anything on any gauze or anything on you. I seem to not have any myself that I can wrap these wounds. I don't want to use these dirty cloths.
I don't have any med kits.
I don't think any of you have the healer's feet either, do you?
No.
Velixis, would you have 10 more hit points if you had your Blessing of the Morning Lord at the start of all of that? Or did you already account for that?
I did not account for that.
So that would be gone, and you would at least have 10 more hit points right now.
Okay, so that means I have 18, not 8.
Gotcha. That actually is definitely clutch for you all to kind of keep track of. I've got it under your features and traits in the feats every morning that you guys start with 10 temporary hit points. Sadly, if we had actually accounted with that, you would have not been bloodied when I asked that, and they would not have necessarily targeted you in that situation. But that's one of those things to kind of keep in mind, is that at the start of any given adventuring day, you all have 10 more hit points from the Morning Lord. But yeah, let's take a break here. Come back at like 20 after the hour if everybody's back beforehand. Try to think about what the next step in moving forward will be and how you all would like to proceed. And we will come back at 20 after. Sounds good?
Yep,
All right.
sounds good to me.
Or I just started cutting up a tomato, but I don't necessarily think that should prevent us from trying to figure out what you all are looking to do. At the very least, for you guys to actually take a moment to actually try to decide what your next step forward should be.
Brannick, did we have any of those potions?
I've got a purplish black one and a whitish blue one, but I think we figured out they were probably potions of resistance.
Yeah, I was trying to think if we had a health one in there.
But I mean, Brannick's thinking. I mean, he's thinking about what the Duergar back who let them in said. There seems to be some sort of internecine conflict going on between somewhere in here. So right, so what he says, like the the guards to the west are loyal to Zardoc, suggests that there are those in here who are not, and maybe we can use that to our advantage.
Yeah, I agree. I think whatever's happening is happening now.
I was almost thinking like if we run into more, we say like we hunt for Zardoc. Because that could mean two different things. It could mean we're hunting for Zardoc to kill him, or it could mean we're hunting for Zardoc. Maybe he hired, we're here to root out traitors or something. But
Not bad. I like it.
unfortunately, like we don't exactly know. Like, is Zardoc a Duergar? Is he like something that's connected to the sunblights that the Duergar mentioned? Are these sunblights like these same creatures that, like these spore creatures that were sending out the stuff at the other fortress, the smaller fortress up near Caer Koenig? Just don't we don't have all the pieces of the information.
Yeah,
yet.
I wasn't here for that one.
Yeah, they were almost like kind of almost like zombified. Although I don't think they were Duergar now that I think of it. I think they were humans or like maybe Duergar slaves or captives.
Yeah, the mushroom people were clearly 10-towners that were dead.
Right. Okay. They were at the Duergar place, but they weren't at Duergar. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like on some level, even though you guys don't role play it, there's the likeliness that you could have at least shown Akalos the potions that you all have, to identify those. I think at this point it's long enough that you guys can know that like that chainmail is adamantine chainmail, and then the potions are resistance of acid, cold, fire, and force.
Wait, so which one's which?
Without knowing specifically what colors I told you, acid I probably told you like green and black. Cold is probably the white and blue. I think red and orange is what I said for fire, and then purple for force. But like I normally do green or black for acid, white or blue for cold, red and orange for fire, and purple for force. So I feel like if you have any number of those colors, that's probably how you can identify. But in the long run, I don't really give a fuck if you guys even care. Like who took what doesn't necessarily matter to me if you guys just know that you have the option of one is acid, one is cold, one is fire, and one is force.
Okay, yeah, I have the acid one. Brennan, also have your bag of sand that you wanted.
I've got the cold resistance and the force resistance. Bag of sand?
Yes, I have a bag of sand. I don't know why. I don't know what for. It literally says little bag of sand utility. And
Oh, I was
Felix just pulls it out and just shows it. Like she has no idea why she has this.
Yeah, no, by I think by pockets in I meant like what some people try to do when there's invisible creatures is they just like throw sand on them to try to show where they are.
I
But
for some reason I think of Giggity Giggity from Family Guy. Can't think of his name offhand, but I feel like it's one of those things where like in dueling, the idea is like pocket sand to blind somebody, like to throw it into their eyes while you're dueling somebody.
You know what's hilarious? When that happened to him, they sprayed him with pepper spray, and he was like, "Ha! Joke's on you! I built up an immunity."
But yeah, there's a lot of things that you guys can do, like very mundane stuff like that, like owning flour. Flour is an amazing substance, how it reacts to different things. Um, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of very mundane things that can solve problems like that too. But with everything directly in front of you, what do you all have in mind at present? What would you like to do?
Melissa's kind of just she tears a piece of her clothing off, um, and kind of shakes it, and with the clean back of the part that was already against her skin, she kind of just tightens it around the wound that's on her arms.
yeah, Brannick is definitely still leery of trying to catch a rest, so he suggests we keeping in mind like, we know there's some sort of conflict between possibly two factions of Duergar. Um we kind of have no choice, I think, to keep moving.
Gotcha. Making that recognition that you need to keep moving. Are you all I mean, you've got the one corpse outside of this room. Take a moment to pull it inside the room and shut that door, or are you all just moving away from it and hoping nobody comes back to this area?
Yeah, I think Brannick would, and he'd ask for like Shinbao to help drag that one body in. Yeah, and just kind of
Gotcha.
close the door.
So you all can take that moment to close off the door. Your first decision as you all start to move down this hallway is whether you would like to go to the north, to the south, or continue down the hall itself to the east. And let me have everybody roll a d6. Rashad, roll a d100. As you all start to approach that little triway, you're going to hear a voice in this hallway that is going to say in Dwarvish, "Are they finished? Come meet Gandalfa. Come with me." And the voice seems to be coming from the east.
Fortunately, one got away, but we will follow.
Yeah, Brannick will start
Make
moving.
make a persuasion for me. Most unfortunate, but follow. And the voice will already be further down this hallway. And then you're going to see as um damn, Larry is the only person who ever brought fire code up to me. I feel like you're going to hear a door open down that hallway, and not shut. But as you all cross the initial T, you're going to see a set of double doors to the north of you, as well as a room that opens up to the south down a long hallway.
Brennick suggests they keep going east, follow the voice. Moving quickly so as not to lose him.
So most of these braziers, also, I should point out, are burning like coals. So while this place is lit up, it is very dim light. That's part of why I'm going to have you all basically walking through that like 30-foot corridor effectively in darkness unless you all start creating your own light. But like these braziers again are effectively just like making like light bits of glowing kind of ember light.
Wait, are we able to am I able to take one of the braces off the handle and take it with?
I would say this is more likely to be like a tripod with like an actual like brass pot. So while you could possibly do something, you're more than likely going to end up burning yourself, even with kind of like I don't know, your resistance is not to fire.
Brian's got torches, and he can essentially light one up, put it, cast Mage Hand, have the Mage Hand carry it, kind of leading the way in front of them.
Gotcha.
Maybe about like 15 feet in front of, keep it 15 feet in front of the Jinbao at the head, and then I think we're kind of still moving single file now with Velixis in the rear, hopefully protected if we get attacked again from the front.
Gotcha. So as you all push forward, you are eventually going to come to see that there is another hallway to the east. Like the hallway continues on, and is going to have another like cross section. As you get to about where your miniatures are right now, you're going to notice that there is a hall that leads to the south of where you are, where that next brazier is. There is a door that is currently left open, leading to the north.
Brian's gonna nod towards that door, given what we heard, or what I don't think Brannick heard it, but he would have been told what they heard. I think he went that way.
So you all can approach. You'll see a little bit more signs of effectively this T section that is beyond where you all are. A door at the end of this hallway, about like 60 or so feet away from you all. And then entering into this room, as you kind of come to the door itself, you are going to see that there are a few different Duergar immediately in your view. One of them is directly in front of you, is going to kind of bow and almost like throw an arm out for you to kind of enter into this room. Another standing right beside this woman who is seated at the actual table, and there is going to be a black ice-like dragon that is directly at her side, and it is kind of coiled about her arm as she's sitting there eating a little bit of food. When you all approach the door and are seen in Dwarvish, you are going to hear, Grandolpha Mosgart, the most illustrious of queens, you are welcome to her table, and welcome to destroy the sunblights. And he will kind of like beckon you forward. Please enter. And then you'll see once you guys get into this room, it seems to be like a dining hall. Three of these dwarves. It's kind of hard to see. Are they chefs or are they actual warriors? But three of them are apparently basically standing at her side, and or two. One of them is standing at her side. Two of them are kind of behind a table on that western side. All three of those look exactly the same, pretty much, like as far as their garb, and I think they would have I never looked up her actual like emblem. But let's say on some level they have like the emblazoned like a mug, almost like ale, for a can't think of the word of what your symbol is, like that you would put on a shield. But that's like on their breastplates. And then the one who's directly in front of you all will basically like make space and then step to the east, the right side of her.
It's like a crest or.
Yes, crest was the word I was looking for. Yep.
And once we're all inside, Brannick would go to close the door behind them as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, Signet was the other thing that was coming to mind, and I just couldn't come up with any of them. So yeah, as you all come in, she is just going to kind of raise her finger and kind of snap her fingers a little bit, and two of the others are going to kind of approach closer to her, and she's going to say in a very, very dirty common, "Would you care for any refreshments while we discuss your business in Castle Sunlight?"
Jin Bao never misses a meal, so he will say, with pleasure, in Dwarvish. And thanks.
So you'll see as some of like the other dwarves actually respond to your message, but she's going to then kind of like look back and in Dwarvish respond, "Do you, I guess this would be cleaner, do you all speak the more noble language? Or would it help to speak in your tongue?"
Switch to common and say it would probably be best to continue in common.
Then she'll kind of go ahead, Valixis.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say that Melissa is gonna. Yeah, she apologized. She does not know their language.
Yeah, I think when she switches to Dwarvish, besides just Jinbao response, I think she'll pick up that you do not actually understand as she says anything in Dwarvish, just kind of looking at your face. So she's going to take a moment and respond to you. More of niceties, and sort of ask if you all would care for a plate of food. You'll notice that a lot of what they have is definitely knucklehead trout. But there are also plates of mushrooms. They have ale. There seems to be a stew going. Like a lot of places in this castle, there's like a deep like haze from all of these actual braziers and the way that they like kind of smoke almost as much as they create light. But in this room, there's like a weird blend of the smell of whatever burns in the brazier as well as what is burning like kind of as part of like the essence of these foods being cooked. But they'll offer you food. You all can dine if you would like. And they also have ale if you would care for any of that.
Brannick would accept both food and something to drink, and he would, similarly, thank the queen, for her hospitality. Somewhat unexpected. He wouldn't say that part out loud, but
Jinbao would agree with that and thank her for her hospitality.
Alexis as well would also thank her as well for the food.
You do not need to thank my hospitality. I intend to use you for my own gains. And she's going to look over to the dwarf that's on her right, that's to the east of her. It seems apparent that we can all benefit from the state of the sun blights and Zaratak. Damn it, I just said his name wrong. Give me 1 second here. Zardarak, there we go.
Brannick will nod and kind of that's enough with the niceties then. Get to know we can speak pragmatically. Can you tell us more about these sun blights? What exactly are you expecting us to do?
And what would be in it for us?
Let me get a persuasion from um, Brennick, please. You have come here for a reason. If there was no reason, you would not be here. Please do not pretend that what I have already done does not help. And you require nothing else than to be successful. My bad if it was a psych out. I just revealed like that there's actually like a pit down there. I feel like you would have kind of noticed. So when she basically kind of is calling your bluff, like, why would I give you anything? I've already given you what you need.
Well, then, help us understand what would there be in it for you by allowing us to continue?
I have told you I am using you. Why would it surprise you that my ends and your ends satisfy themselves through your means?
All right. Now, this Zardarok, how many are loyal to him?
He is paranoid and fears usurpers. His sons are dangerous while they reside here. Let me get a D4 from each of you, please. They. Ooh, I said that wrong. I should say his son. My apologies there. I should say his son, Dirth, is dangerous while he resides here. He was defeated in battle where you call, and she's going to say a dwarvish word here. And this is going to be one of those things that gives up, like, she has ways of speaking common, but doesn't necessarily know, like, everything about it. But she's going to say East Haven in dwarvish, and kind of like looking over the group for any sort of reaction. As that kind of like sets in, she's going to kind of, I thought those who would come here are the same who would have discovered him there.
Yes, it would seem we've run into this dearth before. I, for one, would not mind putting an end to him.
That would be my next desire for you as well. And she's going to say, when you are ready, I will tell you where he sleeps. Zardorak would not be unhappy to see his son die. He has killed many before. Those who remain in Sunblight's castle are in the forge. You... And she kind of like looks over towards the one. Have killed most of those who remain on this level. You have done well, but would have benefit by killing them all.
Yes, an unfortunate oversight.
You'll see a little bit of kind of her own like chest kind of puffing out. It is the Duergar way to survive. Your kind will always lose some. We have these skills of necessity you will never understand. And then she's going to look back to Jinbao. Just as our life and politic are different below the earth than you beneath the sun.
Well, not politics that brings us here. It appears.
Oh, my bad. You can intelligence that if you'd like, Jimbo. My bad. That was me asking. Can you roll a intelligence check for me?
I thought he was gone for a moment.
I feel like that's clear enough. She was basically acknowledging her reason for this is politics. This is political for her. It's business.
And I would respond, well, we're not here for politics. We are also here for business, and it appears it's your lucky day.
My cards were nearly ready to play. It is convenient for you to arrive now. It prevents me from showing my hand. Before the blade drops, we all can win. I can return beneath the earth with his army and his clan who remained behind. You can dispose of the mad Duergar who would step beneath your son.
So, sorry, go ahead, Rashad.
You said you're going to return beneath the earth, and we can dispose of the Duergar beneath the sun. When you say return beneath the earth, does that mean you will be taking your people and going back to another place that you came from?
Yeah, so she'll look to Cobalt and kind of in um I don't know. I feel like you and Durgar are probably the most likely to have had any contact out of like this group of people. Like humans and Durgar are certainly a rarer sight than like a Kobold and Durgar. Like some of your actual people would have actually encountered Durgar in the past. And I feel like you would have that kind of like racial awareness between the two of you, where kobolds aren't necessarily part of the Underdark, but they're also not necessarily unaware of it, where it's certainly entirely possible for a human to go without ever recognizing the existence of the Underdark for like their entire life. But I think her response would be, the Musgard people do not belong so far from stone. I had to cough. So far from stone, nor should we be beneath. And she's going to kind of like search for a word and then looking back towards Brennick and towards Lu Jianbao, she's going to say in Dwarvish, I guess maybe in common, she'll say like the big open, and then she's going to say like cavern. But as she kind of like is saying some words to you all, you're basically going to see she's looking to find out what you all call the sky.
So you don't think that should be beneath the sun?
Zardarak has an illness. His brain is weak. It is time for him to and I feel like this is one of those things where I feel like maybe our culture kind of like lost this idea where there is definitely a certain time in a lot of cultures we look down on kind of in the past where you recognize when somebody goes past their prime, it's almost best to die like in glory while you're just past it rather to then to actually like find old age where you like really lose it. So it's going to be something very close to kind of describing like the honor of Valhalla versus like actually growing old and dying like in decrepitude. But I definitely think it's very alien to like our cultures now. But she's kind of describing like the moment he shows weakness, we should jump at that weakness to show the strength of our people and to honor him in strength.
I guess I understand that. I think I'm understanding everything you're saying so far. Um, this next question, and I apologize, might be a little rude. If it is, then I apologize. But what becomes of this keep that you're in, that y'all are using as a home now? Will it just be left here empty?
Yeah, I think her respond is just going to be something to an effect of it's no concern of mine kind of thing. Maybe even like a recognition that life always fills in voids.
Okay. Well, if we should help you, then would you mind if we were to, if y'all, since y'all were going to let you, well, you're going to end up leaving, would you mind or care if we have this keep for ourselves as a base of operations for us?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the same response. It's more or less you can do what you would. It's no concern of theirs.
But let's just look at Brandon. Okay, so we help them, we get a base of operations, and it's kind of nice. So
I mean, as far as you guys go, also though, you're like 10 days travel into the wild away from 10 towns. How useful this would be for your group as a base of operations is a different story.
oh yeah, I definitely I understand that, but I don't think she's thinking about that right now. I think she's more thinking about of having a place to like just stay occasionally here and there because they just be out a while.
It would seem that our looking towards the queen. It would seem that our interests do indeed align. If it was this Zardarok's Zardarok is the reason you have come here and you intend to return underground, then I believe we can try to make that happen, and we will both get what we want.
Is there any useful information that you could tell us? Why did your brother
She's gonna spit onto the table directly in front of you when you say brother. Zardarak is not of the Musgarts.
My apologies. Do you have any information as to what would lead him to go against the natural order and seek a life that was beneath and I would teach you the dwarvish word for sky?
Well, she was looking for common. Like, it's the dwarvish word would be useful as well, but she doesn't understand either of those concepts, was kind of what I was getting at. It's completely alien for them to not have like a cavern roof over their head.
Right. So understanding that, what what happened to him to make him change his mind so drastically? Or did he just go mad?
Let me get a religion check from all of you all here. Deep Dura has spoken to him and told him our people should rise. Dura does not speak to me in this place. It is wrong for us to be here, even if there is darkness and our eyes and flesh do not burn. This place is not for the Duergar. So Brennick, you would understand when she uses this name Dura, that this is kind of a goddess of the Underdark, in particular the Duergar, and in particular, she is a goddess of um, psychic powers, and that might be why Brennick is most familiar with her, is that she is effectively a dwarven goddess of mental psychic powers. But again, like, one of the reasons why you guys should not terribly be surprised that Duergar are rising up here is because with eternal darkness, there's nothing to keep them away from this place. That has always been a part of the theme of why the Underdark is kind of coming up here in Ten Towns, is that they don't have to fear the sun.
Brannick he'll nod kind of knowingly when she mentioned the name Deep Dura. So you said you can tell us where to find Zardarok, Earth.
I do not know where Zardarok is in the keep. Dirth sleeps nearby. He resides, and she's just going to basically point almost directly east of where she is. Return, move to your left, and take a left. You will see his door. Do not allow him to flee.
Brannick will kind of nod again. Understood. I imagine time is of the essence, or there a chance we could take a brief rest here before we.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I was going to give you all a short rest in this actual occasion. I feel like this is one of those failure points of playing a game versus being the actual people. I don't think your characters have time to waste besides basically meeting this queen.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
But mechanically, yes, I am about to give you all a short rest. It's one of the things I hate most about this game.
Yeah, I guess like while we're kind of eating and talking, and yeah.
It's like we know we missed that one guy who got away, but like, is there any way we could like waste any more time? But yeah, when you guys are finished here and you do not have any more questions for Grandalfa, you guys can benefit from a short rest, and she is going to send you to Kildirth.
Yeah, so Brannick was initially going to ask, if Dirth and if Zardarok, is potentially going to kill Dirth, but then I remembered, well, if Dirth is part of his line, then of course, if she wants to take power, of course she's going to want them both dead. So never.
Roll an intelligence for me. One of the other things that I said is he's already killed 9 of his sons. Zardarok is incredibly paranoid. That was one of the things that she said. Part of why this castle is not fully manned or fully Duergard is because he is effectively killing everybody he suspects of trying to overthrow him, and that includes his own children. Um, so that's part of why she kind of said Zardarok will not be mad to hear that his son is dead. Is because on some level his paranoia has taken over his mind. This is a father who is killing off his own heirs because he fears that they are going to kill him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I was thinking. Yeah. At first, I was thinking, well, okay, so what if we tried to like, convince Dirth to rise up against him? But then again, that would be if she wants to take power, better to have the whole line erased, I guess.
That would definitely fall into line on that same level. If Dirth survived this thing, Dirth is still gonna die by your hand, regardless of whether it's by your hand. Because
Right.
that's part
Right.
of what she's already said. She's using you all to basically show, look, these people were not slain, or these dwarves were not slain by Duergar weaponry. They were slain by humanoid weaponry. This is magic that humans use. This is footprints of a kobold. Everything about what you guys are doing is you are about to be her scapegoats if you're not successful.
Right. Yeah. But if we are successful, then yeah, like so we get what we want, they get what they want.
Yeah.
Uh,
And, part of what I was trying to get at as well is she's basically said, like, this is the, like, forward operating base of his army kind of thing. He has his whole clan, that much of it is still in the Underdark. So much of what she stands to gain is not even directly in front of you all.
right. Right. Yeah, and Brannick. I don't think Brannick has any more questions.
The boys in the kitchen didn't happen to have any flour, did they?
Roll a D100.
The mushroom flower thing.
I'm gonna say no.
I'm thinking invisible attempting to escape again, but it was worth a shot.
Everything will mute for me for a moment.
Wait, my bad. I did not catch that, Rashad. Did he just say he needs to like step away for a moment?
No, I said everything went silent for a moment for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, Lugenbao was just asking about some flour from the kitchen.
Okay.
So, you all can take a short rest here. If you would like to use hit dice, you are more than welcome to go ahead with that.
Yeah, Braddock's going to use his arcane recovery to recover some spell slots. Let me know if we're getting close to when Braddock would need to cast Mage Armor for the second time for the day.
Let me have you roll 2d6. So let's put this at you're nearing that, you're like inside of like the 7th hour of your mage armor right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
I feel like that's the best way to do it when I don't necessarily keep time in mind, is to put it to a roll to see like where we are actually at like in that day. So like that was basically to see when you all got here. So you got here like in that 6th hour of it kind of thing.
Yeah, because he definitely would have had it on like while they were traveling, not just he wouldn't wait until they got up to the keep. So yeah, would have been.
Yeah, I mean, if you're living off mage armor, I basically assume that if you are awake, you have that going. Especially outside in the wild, inside of 10 towns, that is purely up to you if you want to go without. But like when you're exiting civilization, especially with the bloodshed you all experienced on the way here, I 100% expect those spell slots to be gone. But, you guys are also approaching the area where level 1 spell slots tend not to matter in the least bit.
Yeah. And I think like kind of, and then like when he's in town, even though he probably doesn't need it, it's like, well, he probably if he's not going to really need to cast too many spells anyway, then he might as well have it just to be safe. So
Right, and
I pretty
that's
much have him like always. It's always on unless he's like, unless like it's like the end of a rest or something where he doesn't have time to cast it and they get surprised or something.
that's kind of precisely where I would expect it as well. So yeah, you all can basically step back out into that hallway. You are going to effectively now understand that Earth is just to kind of like the northeast of where you all are, and you can kind of go back on this on your own. Um, as you all step out, the Duergar, who has been standing to her east, will kind of like walk up to the door with you and kind of shut the door behind you. And you all will kind of be back inside of this keep. A little bit of silent, a little bit of kind of creaking roar of some of the actual embers on some of these braziers, but you are welcome to continue forward. Describe what you guys are doing. Don't just like move your miniatures. Like actually tell me what you're trying to do here. This is a game about us talking to each other.
Oh, walk up. After we do out the room, we proceed down the hallway towards the next room.
Come to the intersection, take a peek around the corner.
So as you all approach this area, you're going to see a door that's about 10 feet to the north of you, or 10 feet to the left of you, and about another door that's probably about 20 feet to the right. And then you're about 20 feet straight ahead from another door.
So Brian's going to kind of hold up a finger to his lips, suggesting quiet, and kind of gesture towards the door to the left.
Oh, so are we taking the door to the left?
And so Brian's kind of like, stealthily trying to move towards that door.
Can I hear anything from behind the door?
Let's get a round of stealth checks from you all. Are we still in Lujimbao, Valixis, and then Brennick right up on the door?
I'm kind of still. I don't know how. I'm not really up on the door with them.
Yeah, but Brannick would be moving up. Yeah, probably right behind Jinbao.
Gotcha. Roll a perception for me here.
So, sorry, never mind.
My bad. That was just for Jimbao.
Gotcha.
Within the room, you are going to hear a little bit of Dwarvish, pretty much imperceptible, other than that you can hear the like kind of syllables, or not syllables, the phonetics of Dwarvish, and footsteps.
I'll attempt to open the door as quietly as possible.
So you all can roll initiative here, and then let me get a stealth check from Lu Jinbao.
You said get away.
Initiative.
You are going to see before you a room that is almost kind of U-shaped in like the open area. As far as things go, it is going to be pretty much entirely darkness inside of here, beside the little bit of glow from the embers behind you. And then assuming Brennick still has a torch, like relights a torch as you guys kind of step back out here, you'll have that torch glow kind of entering into this room. You're going to see that it is basically a small square, but it kind of presents the bed in a way that takes up that kind of U-shaped. But like the open space of this room is kind of like a U. There is pretty much nothing in this room. You'll be able to spot pretty quickly that there is a figure standing in the northeastern side of the room. They seem to be pacing, but they are reacting to the moment that the door actually starts to open. Inside of this darkness, there are 4 braziers that are not lit, and at this point, there's basically kind of that like haze of the light that's just starting to come in from outside. But at present, let's see, we are going to kick it off with Lu Bao. What are you doing?
Um, I'm going to move into the room. And I'm gonna hold my action.
What is your trigger?
Hostility from crazy dude in front of me.
And what are you doing when said hostility happens?
I'll be attacking with the sword.
Gotcha. And that will take us to Velixis.
I'm gonna go ahead and enter the room and go on to like this side right here, and I am going to. And he's asleep right now, correct?
No, this is a figure that is like standing almost as if they were pacing.
Huh. If that's the case, then I'm going to cast suggestion on them and have them to. Actually, I'm sorry. Do they have any weapons on them? Do I see any weapons on them?
Um, this is gonna be one of those things where to do a perception check is going to take your action to actually be able to see what weapons they have on them. Versus, if you'd like, you can roll a perception check to see if any weaponry like jumps out at you, but you're not necessarily going to get the same information from that roll versus like actually taking the time to figure it out.
Okay, I'm gonna do the perception roll to see if any weapons jump out at me that is on him.
All right, so far more cursory. Let's get a perception from you here. Looking over this figure, they appear to be somebody who is kind of like walking in thought. There does not seem to be any weaponry like explicitly on this person.
Okay, then she's not gonna do anything. She's gonna wait. That's her time.
You still have your action. Like you could take the dodge action if you just are doing nothing, or if you'd like to do the same kind of thing, holding a reaction, you are certainly welcome to do that.
Okay, yeah, I'll hold a react. Let me hold a reaction then. Of the magic missile.
All right, if you hold magic missile, you are casting that spell, and that spell slot is gone. And then if something happens, you will use your reaction to actually cast it, like to use the spell. But like if you hold a actual slotted spell, that spell slot's gone regardless of whether it happens or not.
Understood.
So what is your trigger to cause the magic missile to release?
The person starts to attack.
All right, gotcha. So yeah, you're going to hear in Dwarvish as this figure kind of like stops and looks towards this opening door, watching as Lucian bow and Velixis move in. You don't belong here. And Brennick, you're going to hear as this like voice continues on. Kobold tried to injure you. And then you're all going to hear in Dwarvish, why have you come here? And then Brennick, you're going to hear, the kobold is your enemy. And I need Brennick to make a dexterity or intelligence saving throw, please. Son of a bitch. Would have been far more interesting if you had failed it. And it is going to go back to Brennick. What would you like to do as you hear this creature's voice in your head?
This man rolled a 27.
So Brannick is going to kind of move forward. He's going to step into the room, closing the door, pulling the door closed behind him, kind of moving up and kind of looking towards Dirth as he kind of just just shakes his head a little bit. Your Dirth, I take it. Probably do. I actually probably couldn't get that much out.
Yeah, I feel like anything else you say, you're going to kind of like lose mid-sentence.
Yeah, so he'll stick with that question, and he is just going to he's going to take the dodge action for this turn. Curious to see how the dwarf's going to react to his shaking off the attempt.
Gotcha. And then what would Lu Jianbao like to do?
Respond. He asked you a question. Hold the dodge. Or take the dodge.
And then Velixis?
Just he's going to go ahead and move up here to like around to the back of the bed right here.
Anything else from you then, movement?
Now I'm going to go ahead and release my magic missile out.
So wait, if you held Magic Missile last turn, burn that spell slot, and if you're casting Magic Missile now, you're using another spell slot.
Oh, okay. So that's how that works.
Yeah, when you hold a spell, you cast it. So anything that is not a cantrip, that spell is gone, regardless of whether it triggers or not. That's why it's safe to hold a cantrip, because you can use them at will. But yeah, you're right now that level 1, assuming that's all you were casting before. If you were casting a level 2 or a level 3 magic missile, I need you to burn that spell slot. It's gone. This creature, when it cast a spell, nothing hostile seemed to happen. That creature was asking you all a question, who you were, why you were in its room, and Brennick resisted the spell without anybody else seeing or hearing anything weird about it.
Okay. Sorry, I was misunderstanding that. Okay, so since that slot is burned away, I'm just gonna move over there. I am also just gonna hold my dodge action. I'm not gonna attack just yet.
I am Dearth, and you invade my room. What are your intentions? And then with a sneer, it is going to look to is that Velixis? Velixis, I need a intelligence saving throw from you. You're going to see as Velixis turns to let's see. Velixis would look at Brennick. So Velixis is going to turn to Brennick, and you're going to see as she starts to manipulate the weave. And Brennick, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw. You're going to hear bells of death toll in your ears. And as you shudder off this pain, you're going to know that this creature doesn't have to move, doesn't have to speak, and it can attack you all. What are you going to do, Brennick?
Yeah, so Brennick, seeing this now, is now going to, he's going to like kind of point towards the Duergar and towards Jin Bao, is like, you know, get him. And then he's going to attempt to return the favor by casting Mind Spike at the Dearth.
There's going to be no immediate reaction from it, and Lu Bao.
I'm going to move up for my attacks. And I'm going to apply Stunning Strike to that.
Yeah, you're gonna glance off of its armor as you strike into this creature's flesh. That is just hitting it. And it seems to freeze.
Then I'm going to make my second attack, and I'm going to burn another key point for Flurry of Blows after that. And that'll be end of turn.
So, of those three unarmed strikes, the first and the third are going to hit. Your second kind of glances off of its flesh for three, total solid strikes into it. Velixis, what would you like to do?
What's what this man just made me do? Alyssa's kind of pissed, so she turns towards him. And, good grief! Yeah, she's just gonna throw a fireball at him out of anger for trying to make her attack her friend.
Gotcha. Oh, my bad. Never mind. It automatically fails that. It's stunned.
Wait, what? What happened?
While stunned, he automatically fails dexterity saving throws.
Oh dang!
You're going to see as much of the actual clothing that's kind of draped across this figure is going to burn away. Entire chunks of flesh are melted off of its bones. And this creature is still kind of holding on, very much mortally wounded. Anything else from Valixis? Will otherwise go to Brennick.
Oh no, that was it from her.
Yeah, so Brannick kind of seeing his spell had no effect, but that Valixis is you know falling through with a fireball, is going to cast a fire bolt at Dearth, as he also kind of moves a bit.
So that will hit, and with that, the body is going to crumble as the last of its equipment seems to be burning off of its flesh. One of the sunblights is dead.
Brannick is going to kind of like shake his head, like, well, perhaps we could reason with it, but clearly not. Alexis, you had the right idea.
Um, he tried to make me attack my friends. So that's all the reason I needed. And she just kind of walks over to the body and starts once again searching for any gold coin, and she looks around the room also to see if he has a spell book, since he would clearly use a magic.
You can do a perception check.
Is Brannick, I see a yellow line around him. Is he...
Wait, on
Is that...
Brennick?
Yeah, it's like a yellow square around him.
You clicked on him.
Yeah, that might be your click.
Oh, okay.
I don't see anything yellow around yourself. Let's see. Roll a D100 for me, Valixis. Let's see. Roll 3d8. So you can find in Dearth's pockets 8 copper, 3 silver, and 3 gold pieces. But while you are looking around the room and otherwise trying to spot other things, you see that the bed is partially set up over a chest.
I run over to the chest and
Roll initiative.
Sorry, I just had to reload. Roll.
Nice pair of fives there.
So as Velixis runs over to the bed, you are going to see as Velixis reaches towards the bed, kind of throwing back the covers a little bit. You're going to watch as the covers of this bed almost turn into sharp, pointy ivory pieces of blades as they slam down on Velixis's arms, and Velixis is in the mouth of a mimic. So let's see. It's one. So it should successfully hit you there with a 22. And it is going to slam down on you, dealing 7 piercing damage and 5 acid damage, as you see this bed starts to consume your friend Velixis. And then it is going to go to Brennick.
And so Brennick, seeing this thing happen, kind of shocked, is going to like call out like Blixus, and then he's gonna, hold out his hand, and you'll see kind of a bunch of little tiny darts fly out from his kind of the tips, like each like the tip of each finger. They're gonna fly out into the mimic. I'm gonna cast magic missile at second level. And then it's you roll for each missile, right?
Yeah, let me get 3 more missiles. I always say it just to be sure, make sure you didn't use the extra spells, the spell slots. In the long run, that's why for me, magic missiles just roll as many d4s. But yeah, so 2, 4, 11, 13 damage.
Yep, looks right. And he's just gonna like move towards the other corner of the room, but that's it.
Velixis, you are currently grappled by this creature. In the long run, that means that you basically are incapable of moving away from it, but you otherwise, oh damn, it had advantage against you. You are otherwise able to attack it or do what you would. Oh, and it was a crit too. Are you there, Rashad?
I am. I have to think about something. I'm going to cast suggestion in an attempt to, because I'm not sure what language this creature speaks, but since because of how it looks, I'm going to speak in Infernal, and order it to open its mouth so that I can jump back away from it.
Gotcha. After that, it's gonna go to Lu Jianbao.
Some of it didn't work.
For one thing, I'm pretty sure suggestion when you cast it, you're never gonna see whether it works or not until the turn afterwards.
Oh,
Because
right.
it doesn't on your turn. And the second thing is no, it does not share a language with you.
Oh, dang.
So I'm gonna do my round of attack.
First one is going to miss as you kind of just plink off of the top of this thing, and what seems to be fabric, almost as if this creature is both animate and inanimate parts that are not all a part of its actual being. Solid strike with the second. And solid with the other unarmed strike as well.
That's my turn. Agile parry is activated.
Gotcha. And let's see. Um, yeah, I think it is going to continue to chew on Velixis. And it should hit with a 18. And it is going to do another 10 and 7 acid damage to you. And it starts to consume and digest Velixis.
I am now unconscious and been feasted upon. Please save me.
How many hit points did you have at the start of that turn?
15.
Gotcha. What would you like to do, Brennick?
Yeah, so Brannick is he's worried that if he casts something too indiscriminate, it's going to hurt Velixis in this thing's mouth. So he's going to basically do the same thing, hold it in his hand. You're going to see more darts. He's going to cast it at 3rd level this time.
Gotcha. So 4 more.
Like 17.
That will put it inside of the bloodied condition. We will go to Velixis with a death saving throw. If you can, click over to Whisper to me, or just click the GM button on like the left side of the counter, and then click just a D20. But I don't want you to send this to them. And I can clarify, it's not going to count if they see it.
Okay, you said click on where it says ask. Where do I click on GM at?
If you go into Beyond 20, like the actual link between them, and you click at the top, you'll see where it says Whisper Rolls at the top. Just select to Whisper now. Like it should say Never Whisper normally. I would just select it over to Always Whisper and then roll your death saving throw. Or inside of Roll 20, where it has the actual dice roller, you can click in the top left where it says GM and then just roll a normal D20, and that's going to send the thing just to me. Bam, excellent. And Lu Jianbao, what are you going to do as this thing is consuming Velixis?
Is there any way I can try to jam my sword in there and pull her out? or use one of the one of the javelins to try to pry its mouth open or something?
If you want to try to pry Valixis from its jaws, you can certainly attempt to make a athletics check against its strength. When you do start to like force your way against this creature, you're going to find yourself fighting almost this like sticky nature to its flesh, that it is more difficult than you would have expected to try to grapple with this creature. And that's my way of telling you that that was at disadvantage. And as you fight for it, you are not going to be able to free Valixis. And it is going to continue to chew on Valixis. What is that? I think that's what it needed. 8 plus 5, 13. I believe your AC is 13.
Yep.
So Valixis will lose two. You'll have two failed death saving throws right now, as this creature just chews, and you start to hear bones crunching inside of Valixis. And it will go to Brennick.
Right. Brennick is still afraid he's going to kill Valixis. He's going to cast another second level magic missile.
Eleven
Fine.
more.
Yeah. 6. Yeah. You kind of see him like he's going to give a little kind of like shudder of like almost weariness as he casts it.
And then one more time, Valixis, can you whisper a D20 to me? And Lucian Bao, what would you like to do?
Well, I don't think I can. I don't think I can free her by trying to pry her out, so I'm attacking.
Solid hit.
I'm gonna apply Death Strike to that one.
What is that? That adds like your monk damage die?
Correct.
Auto killed with that hit right there. You left it a 1 hit point from that hit. You are going to watch as you swing your sword. You are going to slash into this creature, right? Slashing damage, yeah. Slash into this creature, and just in like the moment of your contact, as you apply your key, like flowing through the blade, you are going to watch as this creature's form like shifts, and it turns like almost back into a bed, and it like falls out almost into like a chest, and it's going to fall into another form. It's going to look like Valixis, and then it's going to look like an amalgamation of a bunch of different horrific things before eventually this thing starts to seep out just as an acidic goo of digestive materials, and inside you all will have the body of Valixis. And Brennick, you are the only one who has a chance to stabilize Valixis before we have another death saving throw rolled. Let me get a medicine check from you.
Yeah, Brennick's going to rush over. Can I use my inspiration on this?
I don't see why not. And for that case, you can roll the die, and you basically know how much inspiration to pump in to hit what you need to hit. So you can add 2 to it to make it successful.
Okay, I will do that.
I think that's the exact point we are actually going to leave things here, as we stop in this moment of having effectively heard that you all now, with whatever tense allies that you have here, that you all have this entry level of Sunlight Keep to yourselves. Valixis is saved from this creature